Hey guys, welcome to Over the BS. I'm Sadé.
And I'm Blair.
And today we have yet another politically charged episode for you guys because we are over vice presidential debates.
We sure are. Sadé, first of all, how did you react to it all?
So my overall take, I would say I didn't have a headache within 5 minutes. So I'm going to take that as a good sign. A fly made an appearance, and that was that was pretty entertaining. But there were some parts that obviously I feel like were super annoying because Pence interrupted Kamala Harris a lot, which, Senator Harris a lot, which I found to be super rude and super annoying. And I felt like it was harder to get, any answers out of him. So it's like you're interrupting her when she's giving thoughtful, answers about what's going on in the U.S. and plans for the U.S., while Pence was like, let me just interrupt all the time and also not answer a single one of Susan Page's questions.
Period.
But I mean, overall, I feel like at least I got to hear a lot more from, the Democratic side, which was nice. I liked seeing Senator Kamala Harris lay down the law. I think we'll probably get more into that when we do highlights and lowlights, highs and lows. But overall, I would say it's something that I was able to watch. I feel like if you were in the middle, at least you got to hear clearly for the most part from the Democratic side. Obviously, not all questions were answered, but way more than what Pence had to offer. How about you?
You know what? I was happy that it was more civilized. The thing about it is, it's not necessarily, obviously there was less interruptions per se, and, there wasn't as much sidetracking, if you will. But there were, Pence did interrupt Kamala a lot. Senator Harris, he interrupted her a lot, and she was very annoyed and let him know what was good, saying, excuse me, Vice President, I'm speaking.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I am speaking, okay? And then the other thing is that Pence lied just as much as Trump. It's just his lies are just more like chill and cool. You know what I'm saying?
It's all in the delivery.
Yeah. He gave me a little creepy vibes, but overall, because I think when you can lie with a straight face, obviously
it's
they're not good lies.
It's sociopath
if
vibes.
Trump wasn't the president and Trump didn't lie as much, maybe it would have made him seem like a little less crazy. But because we know who the president is, it's like, bro, are you really going to lie for this man? So that was my take. I'm interested to know what our listeners are thinking or what they thought about the debate. So if you guys, let us know on our social media and on the podcast reviews, or even email us at overthebsshow@gmail.com and let us know what you think, because it was better than the presidential debate.
I would agree, hands down, better. And like you already mentioned, Pence, he's able to artfully deliver his lies. Honestly, you can tell he's a great speaker. Every time he answered a question, he wanted to start off with, well, thank you, and I'm so grateful, and this and that. And he packaged his answers with quotations because he never really answered, but I feel like his delivery was always coming off as like, I'm so gracious and grateful and calm, even though I'm actually interrupting you all the time. And he also had no regard really for the moderator. Zero regard. I mean, every time she would say, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President, it would take him forever to actually concede and be like, fine, okay. But then when he got his 15 minutes back to rebuttal, he'd say, I'd like to go back to the last question.
Yeah.
He really was like, I am taking the mic, and I don't care.
Yeah, and he was trying to really steer the situation, but it did not work, because if you think about it, there's 3 times that he really didn't answer the question. I noticed during healthcare, he didn't really answer the question.
COVID, loops.
COVID.
Donut.
When it came to, he brought up that one part where he said, he said, I have to go back to the point that Kamala made. I just have to say that it's really sad that she would choose politics over finding a vaccine. It's like, that's not what she said. And I think seeing all the news outlets and all the reactions so far that I saw, everyone really could see through that bullshit, which was
Yeah.
dope, because I feel like a lot of times there are a lot of fights, but it seems like people are starting to wake up, even undecided voters. Which, girl, did you see the video of the undecided Black voter? Did you see that? Was that CNN?
Yes, I saw it. I
Girl,
was
that
like,
was so
boy,
crazy.
if your voice ain't telling me,
If you don't get your Uncle Tom ass out of here, boy.
I saw what I needed to see within a few seconds, and I said, okay, you're
How
lost.
are you undecided? Okay, listen, first of all, as a Black man, with whether it's the police brutality or the way, racism in general in this country, like, how are you undecided?
Yeah.
When Biden said that $10,000 would be taken out of my student loan debt, how are you undecided?
I know, even though I'd like it to be a lot more, but I'm like, are you gonna add Elizabeth or Bernie or somebody to help you out with some treasury, because I need them in that room to be like, no, we need more than 10,000 docked. Okay. But getting back to what we were originally talking about, like, how are you not concerned when the questions of civil unrest in this country come up? And the first thing he wants to talk about is, buildings and infrastructure. And when he talks about Breonna Taylor, he says, it was sad, it was tragic, but. I'm like, you don't put a but when we're talking about someone's life, a person, a living, breathing person. So I feel like that should be almost enough for somebody who is a person of color in this country to really reevaluate who you want to be in power, especially considering he has an example to go off of. You have 4 years, dude. You had 4 years.
Yeah.
And, listening to Pence and how questions about any sort of plan were literally, it's like he had the cheat codes. Like, dude, you were already in office for 4 years, yet you guys still can't even answer questions about plans, especially concerning COVID and things like that. And it's like, that should be worrisome as well, seeing as people of color are, again, the ones suffering the most from, this pandemic right now. So
yeah, he
needs to get right. I don't know what that brother needs to do.
Yeah.
But somebody needs to gather him.
That was such an amazing point that you brought up about the Breonna Taylor part. I completely forgot. But what I remember most about that part is that he was trying to explain to Kamala Harris, saying that systemic racism didn't exist. Pretty much saying that systemic racism, I like to think that America isn't racist. It's like, bro, that is the shit that we're freaking talking about. Like, the ignorance. Yeah. You guys choose to ignore this shit. And that's the point. It's like, This is why we're having issues. And not only that, but then my second point was the economy. Now, listen, quit saying how the economy was when you first started, because first of all, Barack Obama, you guys piggybacked off of him and Joe Biden. Inherited an amazing economy. And look at the economy now. I don't, like my girl Nene Leakes said, I don't care what you did now. I don't care what you did then. I want to know what you did now. And right now with COVID and the economy right now and how many jobs people have lost, that's what I care about.
Exactly. And they're running everyone into the ground, especially considering Trump just announcing that he is not going to make any more decisions on
stimulus package,
unemployment, on those checks that so many millions of Americans are relying on until after the election, because he is scared. He's literally that's voter suppression. He's like, basically, you need to vote for me if we're going to get this handled quickly and easily. Because if you're also considering the fact that they did not say they will peacefully leave the White House, we're going to be in a load of trouble.
Isn't it ironic that, that happened? Yet he said Kamala Harris is choosing politics over vaccine, but aren't they choosing politics than sending a stimulus package? Mm-hmm. There are so many children right now who cannot go to school, who do not have food on their tables because of this. Like, this is not a joke. To them, it's such a game and it's such a strategy. And it's like, at this point, no, just do the right thing. And it blows my mind too when it comes to religion, because I'm like, you guys cannot be kissing God's ass talking, but then your actions say otherwise.
Exactly.
Like, that hurts me as someone who is spiritual.
Exactly. No, 1,000%. And I think, one thing I wanted to bring up back on this topic is how, Pence was basically gaslighting her through the entire debate. But what I loved is that she didn't give into it, and she would circle back, and she was really painting the picture for the American people. saying, imagine where your family members could be if this was taken care of in the beginning. Imagine, remember that day where you had to quickly grab your kids from school because everything was shutting down. Remember that you are at home now, really painting a picture and reminding people what we are in, because Pence was over here gaslighting her, acting like, well, you're caring too much about politics. Everything for him was about twisting her words, to make it seem like whatever message he was trying to send, basically, belittling and undermining anything she said. I also love that she called him out multiple times. Besides, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking, she was like, I will not be lectured. I will not be lectured because I'm the only one sitting here at this table who is a prosecutor, okay? Okay, and then did you notice? Quiet. Because he what can you say to that? Crickets. Yeah. Or maybe shall I say flies? Because
flies. Lord of the Flies, girl.
Lord of the Flies, Beelzebub over here. Oh my gosh, can we get into that?
Girl, it's so much. It's so much to impact. Like, first of all, I would have loved to have been the fly on the wall for this debate. But
literally, quite literally.
But it's just so crazy to me too, because even when he was talking about the military, it was like, at the end of the day, I don't care what Trump is acting like when it comes to military families, when there's a soldier that has, unfortunately passed away. But it's like, you have said so much crap about fallen soldiers and people that have been held hostage, like John McCain, who did so much for this country, not just for the state of Arizona, but the entire country. And Trump treating him like garbage before and after his death. So I believe 100% that he called these soldiers losers and suckers. I 100% believe it because he said it while John McCain was dying.
Exactly. And that's why for him, I feel like their whole side, their message, it never really adds up. Like, what they want to do is hinge on American values, but they're always doing the exact opposite, undermining. And then sometimes that's how I don't understand how people who want to endorse that side don't see the blatant, contrast within their own party. Like, it's too, he's saying one thing and doing the opposite. It's not matching up. And we know how much he likes to talk. But, there's not enough action. There's not appropriate action. So I'm really that's lost on them. That's lost on them because I already know who I'm voting for, in this whole thing. I would also love to get your thoughts on the moderator, on Susan Page.
I will. I have one more point. I'm sorry. I just wanted
yeah, you had 3 points and I think we only went through 2. My bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just had one point about, I was so happy that Kamala brought up the point that, Vice President Pence, why is he leading the COVID task force? He's not a doctor. And when she made the statement saying, I'm not taking that vaccine until Dr. Fauci and other scientists say it's okay for me to take it. I'm not going to take it because Donald Trump told me that it's okay. Because Trump can't be tested. You heard him himself. He got COVID. And then he's saying that a vaccine's I know this because I had COVID. A vaccine is on its way. You are not a scientist. And clearly, based on all of how you handled COVID to begin with, you don't believe in science. Because when you knew about it in January, you did absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
So, period. And what was the question you were asking? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, period. I agree with you. I mean, enough said. I want to know, what are your thoughts on the moderator, Susan Page, and how she handled the debate overall together? Because obviously moderators really control the environment, or that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. I think Susan Page did an amazing job. I thought she already started it off with, do not fuck with me. Do not try to talk over me. Do not try. She was very clear and she was very strict. And she was shading the hell out of Trump at the beginning, saying pretty much, long story short, if you do anything that the presidential nominees are doing, then, we're going to move on.
Yeah. I actually didn't get the same vibe from her. I felt that she was just okay. I felt like, because actually, I looked at the numbers and Pence interrupted Kamala 10 times. Like double the times that she interrupted him. And I feel like the only time she really interrupted him was, as a rebuttal for her to actually get her own words in edgewise from the beginning. I feel like towards the latter half of the debate is when she started, you know, kind of just like edging in more because she had stuff to say and he was gobbling up all her time. So I feel like Susan was more effective than Chris, but also this was also more of a civilized debate overall. So I loved that at the beginning when she accidentally called Kamala Harris Kamala. She was like, Senator Harris, and then Kamala was like, oh yeah, I'm Kamala Harris, you can call me Kamala. She's like, no, you're Senator Harris to me. I was like, that's right.
Yeah,
okay, she earned that title, so hats off for that. But I did find that sometimes I felt like she was a little more meek when talking to the vice president, just a little bit, just kind of like, Mr. Vice President, thank you. And then I felt like she raised her voice a little bit when talking to Kamala, and I was like,
I don't know, because
and I was like, maybe I'm seeing things, and I'm seeing a little bit as in like a tinge, but overall, I could maybe be thinking of it that way just because of how many times he was interrupted, and it felt like after a while he had no disregard for her either. Like how he'd go back and say like, okay, but I'm actually gonna go back to my last question, and just like,
yeah, I wish that wasn't a thing.
That was incredibly
should have been like, no, I said this question.
I think it was disrespectful to both Kamala Harris and Susan Page when he was doing that. I could not.
It was disrespectful to the American people. Like, you're not answering the questions that we need to know.
Exactly.
But we already know them. I think we just want them to explain their reasoning. But again, there's not a reasoning. Exactly. You know, I liked her because I love the shady questions. I love the Vice President Pence. So it's known that you and Trump knew that COVID was a thing. So how come you guys didn't do anything about it? Like, I love that type of shit. Like, I love the accountability. And she wasn't being shady to be unfair or to take a side. She was just saying what was good. She did the same thing when it came to Kamala and the Green New Deal.
Yep.
So to me, I could tell that she was doing a good job at not picking sides or favoring one or the other. And also just keeping them both accountable.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because in comparison to Chris Wallace, I think she also handled her questions way better. And I think that they should have different types of people for every debate. I think that, you know, you had a white man, a white woman. I think it's time to have people of color moderating the third debate. Like, to me, it only makes sense because it's going to go, like you said, like you felt like she was interrupting or she was allowing Pence to talk over Kamala more than Kamala to talk over Pence. And I think that if you had someone of color who sees that sometimes, I'm not saying that, you know, that she didn't, I'm just saying that it's important that a lot of Black women especially know how it is being a Black woman. And I feel like that's what I was going to say. Yeah, directly, is that I felt maybe I'm picking this up extra because this is something I experienced. Like, I know when, you know, sometimes there's that, and not saying that Susan Page has this at all, it's not what I'm saying, but, you know, sometimes white people don't even know when they're pushing their like passive aggressiveness on you. Like, they don't even know. And I'm not saying that she exhibits that at all, but I felt like at times maybe it's because he is the current sitting vice president that she was a little more, you know, versus to Kamala Harris. Like, maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe it seemed more equal to others, but for me, I felt like there were some moments where I was like, what are we doing here? But overall, you know, I feel like she did a great job, better than Chris Wallace. I do think sometimes I feel like Kamala, overall, I think Kamala did an incredible job, especially when you have to think about the extra weight that she was holding, again, as like being Black in that space, you know, and being a woman, because automatically women are considered crazy when you want to speak up too much. If you talk a little too loud, you're crazy. And usually in that arena, it's white.
Yeah, angry.
You know? And then let's add Black. Now she's angry. Yep. Angry and crazy. So I felt like her whole plan was, you know, I'm not going to speak over him, because then we're probably going to start getting the ghetto. They're going to attach ghetto and all these other tags to her. Because think about it, throughout this thing, she was also repeating her credentials. Yeah. She was, you know, for the people who don't know who she is. So I feel like to some degree, she had to do the smile that we all come to love. And, you know, that smile that we know that when a Black woman smiles while you're pissing her off, you were about to get cleared. And what I loved is usually it was followed by a fact check.
Period.
You know, I just thought that was a really, you know, interesting thing to literally watch in real time between, you know, white woman, white man, Black woman, you know, and everybody has their credentials to be there, but it's interesting to see how it all plays out. politically.
I'm just excited to see what will happen next week. Are we going to have a second presidential debate? I do not think so, because Trump is so scared.
And apparently it's supposed to be over Zoom. He's like, no, I'm not doing it.
He's not doing it because it goes against what he wants. If you have and that's the crazy thing is, how do you get COVID? And then you say everyone wear a mask and, do all the precautions. Then you tell the Michigan governor to open up the churches, schools, and whatever. However, the woman has just been threatened her life. It was planned that she was going to get kidnapped and murdered. And he doesn't say, I'm so sorry for that. He literally says, oh, well, open up your country, open up your state. And it's like, what are you bro, you are so crazy. Like, Trump is demented.
Oh yeah. He's demented. Sick. He's demented. He is evil. He does not actually care about people at the core of it, because you could have easily just said, I'm glad to know that you are okay, and then gone on with whatever else you wanted to say, but you didn't even take the time to do that. Because the truth is, he does not care.
He needs racists to vote for him. I'm not saying everyone that's voting for Trump is racist, but let's be very clear. Most racists are. And that's just a fact. When you do not denounce the Proud Boys, the KKK, white supremacists, what do you expect? He didn't even denounce the people that did this to Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God the FBI was on it. And he said, this is the part that threw me. He said he wasn't even thanked. You are not the chief of the FBI or whatever the hell. I don't know what is that.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Why would we be thanked? I should be thanking you. Like, sir,
have several seats for that ass.
Because
you need it. Several seats with your obese COVID ass.
I know.
Isn't that one of the things? If you're old, if you're over 70-something, you're obese, you can get...
He's got all the pre-existing conditions.
All the pre-existing Trump.
That's another thing. Pence and his team never answered the questions about pre-existing conditions in healthcare.
I just went in. I'm so sorry. They didn't. They don't even know what that means.
It's awful. And I'm like, bro, you're like the walking advertisement for pre-existing conditions. Like, and you don't have the answer. Your team?
That corny ass video where he's going up the steps like Rocky to the White House. I was like, okay, Sylvester, sit your ass down. For one, Sylvester Stallone actually looks good in the Rocky movies. I don't know how he looks now, and it says so much. But Trump, you're trying to reenact it 30 years later, and it's not that cute. And yes, this is a read. And I'm just like, Trump, for one, your makeup was horrible. Like, if you're going to be sick on camera, at least let's hire someone like, I don't know, Mariah Carey's makeup artist. I don't understand what's going on. And not only that, I'm sorry, I'm going on a little tangent, but how are you going to go walk up these steps? I'm sorry, kind of walk with heavy breathing, but you're going to sit there wheezing because you're dying of COVID as you're
I was going to say, literally.
America.
Like, honestly, the memes were hilarious. There was one that was like, when your mom yelled at you and you can't cry in public.
Girl, this man is out of control.
It's like, that's exactly what is happening. I know that you've heard the conspiracies surrounding his sickness. There's no way you haven't. Do you think that, some people are like, well, he has it, but they're using this as a plan to foil the election, or, they're exacerbating it and then he's going to be fine. Like, what do you think's going on?
So I've had 3 different reactions. So when it first happened, I was like, Trump got COVID. We're not surprised, yada, yada, yada. Then I started thinking, and I was like, you know what? This is probably fake. Like, how does, And then when I saw him wheezing, I was like, oh shit, no, this nigga really has COVID. I mean, he's a reality star, but he is not an Oscar-winning actor. Okay? And so I was like, this is ridiculous. So what I think is happening is this: they're milking this COVID shit. They want people to feel bad for him. They want people to do this. They're even trying to say that people want him to die. That is not it. A lot of us don't want him to die. We're just like, okay, for one, karma's a bitch, and two, you were saying all this stuff, and you knew about COVID, and now you have it. Yet, you're talking about how you feel 20 years younger now that you've had COVID and you've beat it. However, there are 210,000 Americans who have died from COVID. You sound like an idiot.
And I'm like, dude, I don't think you've beaten it yet.
Girl, he has not beaten it.
And they're lying about it, and they are totally like dragging this out. I thought it was kind of weird how they're bringing up every single person who has COVID, but at the same time, I know that their entire team does not wear masks, like, period.
Girl, did you see Pence's pink eye?
Oh, I know.
You didn't see the pink eye?
Oh, yes. It was a sight. You know, that fly got to see it up close. Oof. I was like, this is...
That poor fly has COVID. Did you see the Twitter page for the fly?
I've seen a lot. I saw pages. I saw TikTok pages. They were like, the fly is dead now. I saw the funniest tweet where it was like, breaking news, the fly has been admitted to Walter Reed Hospital last night.
I hope the doctors are able to tell the truth for him, though. I hope there's a little difference.
I know. They probably weren't able to save him because they weren't flying in Johns Hopkins for the fly.
You know what? All I can say is, people, please, please vote. Your vote matters. It does. And it can change everything. And ignore the polls. We learned this from the Hillary Clinton and Trump election 4 years ago. Ignore the polls. Mm-hmm. Just vote like Trump's winning. Okay.
Period.
Like, if it takes all that, I got my ballot, by the way. Did you get yours? Because everyone in California, we got ballots if you're registered. You got yours?
Yeah, I have mine.
Did you fill it out yet?
It's right behind me, actually.
What was your reaction when you saw Kanye West on your ballot as vice president for someone?
No, I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, well, you're going to see Kanye Omari
I'm like waiting
West?
for a moment to, I don't know. It sounds lame, but I want to have like, open it and like do it all in one go. Huh?
You want to have like a little ritual?
I know, probably like, I need to bring my crystals over here, but I didn't. So Kanye West is literally, tell me your reaction.
I was like, I didn't know his middle name was Amari, so that was my first name. I was like, that nigga's name is Amari. But no, for real. I was like, wow, they really let this nigga run for vice president. And then I was like, oh my God, Kim Kardashian is vice first lady. Like, I'm second lady. I'm kind of here for it, but not really. Because we know she wants to be black. But it was just a joke because he's not in every ballot. So I know someone that lives in Florida, and they said that Kanye's not on their ballot. So I was very confused.
Interesting.
He's only allowed in certain states. So I think he's not gonna win.
I was gonna say it doesn't look like it's gonna go so well.
I don't think the Electoral College is interested in Kanye West.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the Grammys, me, Jay-Z. We're not interested in Kanye West.
Taylor Swift, not interested in Kanye
No.
West. No. Not really, not right now.
We're not interested. But you guys, we want to hear from you. Please let us know what you think about both the presidential and vice presidential debates. If you haven't heard our presidential debate show, please go listen to our last show. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, Twitter, @OverTheBS Show. And please leave us a rating and review on our Apple Podcast page.
Yeah. Actually fill it out, guys. We love getting your stars, but if you can just give us a little blurb, that really helps us and gives us feedback so we can continue to bring you, great interactive shows.
Yes, and if you want to watch us instead of listening to us, you guys can just look us up on YouTube @OverTheBS Show. And if you guys have any questions or want any advice or have any comments, please email us at overthebsshow@gmail.com because I think it'd be fun to interact with them more now that we have.
Also, if you have ideas, if you have something you want us to talk about, let us know. We do this show as much as it's for us, it is for you. And we are so excited to have you on this journey and this ride with us going over the BS.
Yes, and make sure you guys follow us. My name is Blair. You can follow me at I am Blair T.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @Sadé A. Spence and on TikTok for all my TikTokers @Sadé TV. Thank you guys so much for listening. See you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.